To watch Mulan, you must be rich as a wealthy banker with all the funds of a business tycoon. You gotta get paid like a raging lawyer. Mysterious how this price tag makes any sense. Time is racing toward us until December arrives. Heed my every order, and you might not pay $35. It's a way too much to pay for any film, but that's what Disney executives do. If I were you, I would wait till it's free. Yeah! Hey guys, welcome to my review of Mulan. Not the original Mulan, which came out in 1998, but the new live-action Mulan, which was released just yesterday on Disney+. Perhaps the most pressing question with this movie is, should I buy Mulan on Disney+? Wait, purchase Mulan on Disney+? That's right. This movie isn't like any other movie release on a streaming service. This movie is special. It will cost you 35 Canadian dollars to purchase Mulan and watch it early before all other subscribers to Disney+. So what that means is that you have between now and December to watch this movie before everyone else gets to watch it without paying an extra fee. Now, this business model is a little crazy to me. First of all, because $35 is a lot of money. Most people don't pay that for a Blu-ray or a DVD. And if you go to the movies here in Canada, it's about $17 plus tax. And so that means you have to watch Mulan at least twice to get your money's worth. But you're also buying something you could just wait for and get with everybody else. I don't know if I would choose that. That seems like kind of a strange choice. But anyways, here's what I thought of the movie, and maybe that will help you decide whether you should purchase Mulan. I thought that this movie was pretty good. There were a lot of things going for it. One of the biggest things was the cast. I thought the cast was excellent. We've got really big names such as Jet Li and Donnie Yen, as well as Ming-Na Wen, who played Mulan in the original 1998 film. I thought that this was very well casted, and that each character was very well suited to their actor. I also thought that a lot of the sequences of action were very well choreographed. Things were put together in a way that was very pleasing to watch and made a lot of sense. I really enjoyed how those things worked. And also just the story of Mulan is a really good story. And the story has stayed pretty much the same in this rendition of it. And that story always kind of speaks to me, and I think that it's one that is worth watching for that reason alone. Unfortunately, this movie doesn't exist in a vacuum. This isn't the first and only version of Mulan. And so it was really easy for me to compare this version with the original. Now, the original is one of my favorite Disney movies. It's in my top 5 for sure. I love the music, I love the animation, the way it's paced. Everything about that movie is really, really good. And this movie lacks a lot of the things that I think that original movie had. The biggest thing that this movie did not have was any of the songs. Yeah, none of them. There were no songs throughout the entire movie. Now, that wouldn't be a problem, again, if it existed in a vacuum and it was just telling a well-told story. But because it's taking from this previous property that has songs that are beloved, and it just chose not to do any of them. Not until the credits rolled did people even sing the most famous song from Mulan, Reflection, which is a beautiful song that has a lot of meaning in it. They used the tones and the tune of it throughout the movie in the sound or in the score, but it was never explicitly sung, which made me quite sad, actually. I also thought that one of the things that made Mulan, the original, really good was how funny it was. It's a really humorous movie. It has a lot of really, really cool characters who have a lot of personality, and that personality really comes out even when they're not singing. You have characters that you just really love. This movie removed or ignored a lot of those characters. Characters that are a little bit more mystical in nature, such as Eddie Murphy's Mushu or the cricket or even the horse, who are in animation given this personality. That is all gone. And now we've seen Disney try and do this kind of thing where they give personality to living things like we've seen in The Lion King or in Beauty and the Beast, and that isn't always as good, but part of me thinks it would be better than nothing, which is kind of what we got in this movie. And it wasn't like they tried to make the movie any less mystical. The movie is still full of these ideas of chi and witches and all kinds of things, but at the same time they just took out the fun parts of that from the original movie. I wish they had kept those characters because those characters give a lot of life to that animated film, and we've seen it been done in other movies that are live action, right? I didn't love Beauty and the Beast as much as the original animated one, but at the same time, Lumiere and Cogsworth were excellent characters, and they brought a lot of life to that movie, even though they were just a clock and a candlestick, which were animated a little bit with CG. I thought they were still an integral part of the story. And when they removed these characters, they had to adjust their story accordingly. For example, Mulan in the original movie does not have a sister. Now, this wouldn't be a problem for me if they had added a sister to Mulan's story and they had given her a character that mattered, but what they did was they put her in there as a plot hole device. Because they removed the cricket from the initial original film, now they needed a reason for Mulan to go into her matchmaking thing with the matchmaker and make a fool of herself. And the only way she can do that is if her sister is there who's afraid of spiders, and then spiders gonna land on the table, so now she has to swat the spider and get rid of it to save her sister, but the matchmaker doesn't realize that's what's happening, and then she slips, and now she's flipped over the table and everything's a mess, and you know what? You've brought dishonor to your family, Mulan. That's really the whole role of Mulan's sister in this movie. She was there really just to get the plot going to the same point that the movie had originally done when it was animated. And other characters which were removed, such as Mushu, were kind of just shoehorned in with other things that could sort of fill his role. But they just didn't fill his role as well because they weren't funny. They were just a guide that got her from point 1 to point 2 to point 3. And that's sad for me because I think Mushu is the best part of that movie originally. But, you know, I could live without having Eddie Murphy in that role. If we said we can't have Mushu, it's just not accurate enough for our live action movie, I would have been okay. But it was the fact that they had to fill in his role somehow and they just did it lackluster. I don't know. The other characters that I wish had had more personality were the other soldiers in Mulan's regiment. There are characters in that animated movie that you love. You've got the instructors, you've got the general who's leading the group, you have these 3 friends who are the first people Mulan runs into, and they're just wacky characters. They bring all of that comedy to the movie, and this movie tried to give them some of those elements, but the personality came from here down to here. Maybe here. There were some moments which were fun and joyful, but a lot of them were just really serious. And those characters really didn't play the same role as I would have loved for them to have played. In general, it's not a bad movie by any means. It's very well put together and I enjoyed watching it. But it's hard not to compare it to the older movie. And that combined with the price tag, how much it costs, this movie doesn't feel like it's worth $35. Overall, on its own, this movie is a pretty good time. It is a great way to spend a Saturday morning with your family. Your kids are going to love it. But this movie doesn't exist on its own. This movie has a predecessor. And so if I had to choose between 1998 Mulan or 2020 Mulan, the choice is clear. 1998 is the way to go. I think that it's still a great movie and that it's probably worth watching. But again, it's not worth watching at $35 right now. You'd be better to wait and watch some other movies on any number of streaming services or in theaters that can fill the gap that Mulan would leave if you didn't purchase it. But remember, you can still watch it in December. And if you already have a Disney Plus subscription, that's, I think, the way to go. Because there's so much there on Disney Plus that can act as a filler for this movie, including the original Mulan, which I recommend full-heartedly. And so when this movie is free, I recommend this movie. Definitely watch it. It is a fun movie. But probably wait until then. Thank you guys for watching my review of Mulan. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and that you were able to gain some information from it and that maybe you guys will be able to make an informed decision about making this purchase. I hope that you guys will stick around and watch all the videos that I've got coming out in the future. I can't wait to review more movies as they continue to come back, as the box office continues to vamp up to what it used to be. I am really looking forward to the future, and I hope that you guys will continue to join me on this awesome adventure.